Not in the fridge, outside.
We'll keep it outside. Okay.
Wait.
Com'è?
Vedi?
Okay, it's very solid and tasty. Molto buono.
Buono?
Molto buono. It's good. Benissimo. To continue, I want to say something in front of my Google Maps again. So I'm going to move to my no, grazie. Molto bene. So a lot of people have heard this before, but I think it's interesting to cover it again. Trying to explain, basically why it's Italy so beautiful. First of all, Italy has a great deal of biodiversity, and this is given for its geological formation. Italy, it's rich and abundant of different vegetable and animal species. Again, this is because of the way it has emerged from the sea, and it has been created by volcanoes eruption throughout the millions of history of our planet. And because of its position, I don't know if we can, Marco, can we get closer on this one here? Because of its position in the Mediterranean, basically, Italy, it's a long bridge on the Mediterranean basin. And this has, throughout the centuries, has created a flow. Okay, we have it up here. You see the orange, it's Italy, and all around the Mediterranean, all the other countries throughout the 20 centuries of history of Western civilization, people have merged to Italy and exchanged goods. And this has created even more variety in terms of kinds of food and plants. And this is why Italy has a great abundance of different varieties. To give you an idea, and I want to quote a couple of interesting books here. This one talks about the vines. Italy has, if not even mentioning the most important international grapes such as Cabernet, Merlot, or Chardonnay, Italy has almost 700 different kinds of vines, out of which you can legally produce wine. Actually, 691 different kind of vitigno vines. And another example, we're quoting another important book here, which is I paesaggi del cibo, the landscape of food. When we talk about olives, it says that Italy has 395 varieties of olives that are officially registered in the olive register, out of which you can produce olive oil. So this gives you an idea of why, when you travel throughout the country, you find different kind of wine and olive oil and food. And this all together produces 4,800 traditional kind of food that are registered with at least 25 years of consistency throughout the nation. Probably, basta, sì, assolutamente. Probably traveling by bike, as we mostly do through the summer, it's the way to appreciate food and wine the best possible way. You go slow, you have time to see, you have time to smell, and you stop every time you see something interesting, And this is probably the best way to experience all this. Kleide is starting to prepare the dough. There's a little mistake in the list of ingredients we sent out. We said 230 grams of flour and 3 eggs. It's actually 2 eggs only. And this is because at the beginning we thought of having 300 grams, but it's way too much dough to produce the tortelli with. Eggs and flour. We use flour type 1. We personally don't use the 00, which is way too refined for us. We don't even use the 0, we use the type 1. And this one comes from near here. It's actually the area of the Padania plain that goes towards the sea. And as you can see, it says macina a pietra. It's stone grinded. We prefer come si dice, a little rougher texture, and we like the fact that the dough has some flavor, and so we only use type 1 or type 2 flour to prepare our pasta. When you do that, when you do the pasta with this kind of flour, it takes actually a little longer to work it. You know, you got to push and fold and push and fold. And reason being, in this kind of flour, there's more fibers and less gluten than in the other kind of flour. And so it's not as elastic, as flexible as the 00 or the 0 flour. Of course, sì? Sì, sì. Yes, it is. Allora, first of all, this is, excuse me, soft grain flour, not to be confused with the hard grain flour. This is soft grain, and it's number 1. I guess it's the same in the US. 00 is very refined, 0 is refined, 1 it's with some fiber, 2 is semi-whole wheat, and number 2 it's usually whole wheat. If you use the whole wheat, then you have to work a lot the dough because it's not as elastic, okay? We have to switch the board wrong side. Perfetto, molto bene. For us, type 1 is good. It gives some flavor. It gives some roughness to the dough, and that is something we really like. I hope I have answered to your question. Come andiamo, Kleide? We don't use a machine. As you can see, Kleide has big, strong hands. She was a basketball player for many years, and she has very strong hands.
Ha dei buoni geni.
Ha dei buoni geni. So once, facciamo lo switch anche qua, giusto?
Sì.
So once the dough is ready, again, you should let it rest for at least 10-15 minutes.
In un sacchetto chiuso o in una pellicola?
Okay, you should put it in a little plastic bag, and you should. See, with whole wheat flour, again,
un po' più di farina.
You will need a little more flour in compared to the eggs, and you will have to work it a little longer. Whole wheat, it's not as easy to work as 00 or 0 or 1 type flour. Bene, questa è molto bella. La pagnotta è pronta. Of course, we have prepared something that has rested a little bit before, so we can continue on with the ravioli. Adesso che cosa facciamo? We have to, come si dice, prepare the stripes and fill the ravioli. Io intanto metto su un po' d'acqua, cosa dici?
Sì.
We also have to put water on fire. Un po' di più.
Allora, si parte dal...
We don't use electrical equipment. We do things by hand here. And
Si gira.
to prepare the stripes, you have to fold it one side to the other. Molto bene.
Dobbiamo mettere di nuovo la pasta.
Lauren, how are we doing? How are we doing?
Perché devo mettere la pasta chiusa.
Sì.
Bene.
Vado?
Vai. Prova.
I pretend to know what I'm doing, but I'm not, so I'll give it back to Kleide. In the meantime, I can do what I do best, which is open another bottle of wine. This is okay, of course. After a few rounds through the machine, you gotta to thin the dough. So you go down a couple of clicks. As we continue on, you don't want it too thin. This is also our choice. We don't like the pasta, the outside dough, to be too thin. We like it with some consistency, so we don't go to the very last, come si dice, buco. We prepare a little stripe. In the meantime, I want to introduce you the wine that goes with the tortelli, still from Cantina Puglianello. It's called Borgoleto. While the first one, it was 100% from grapes Lambrusco Montericco. Again, if you happen to see my video, which is called Flavors of Reggio Emilia, you will see the hill of Montericco, where the grapes used for the first wine come from. This one, it's a mix, a blend of several kinds of Lambrusco grape, and they come from the hills near Reggio Emilia. This is a DOC. As we were talking about the biodiversity of Italy that creates great kinds of food and great kinds of wine, we should mention the fact that for the food, there's a denomination that is called DPO or DOP, Denomination of Protected Origin, while for the wines you have DOC, which is Denomination of Controlled Origin. Both the denomination, they address a product that can only happen in a certain area, and reason being, once again, the interaction between the environment and the culture and the tradition of the place produce a certain kind of product. Kleide has closed the first row of tortelli. Lately, we started to like the small ones better. At the very beginning, we began with very large and fluffy tortelli. We now have moved into smaller size tortelli. And as you...
schiacciare di latte per non farlo uscire il ripieno.
See? You have to seal the dough all around the filling so it doesn't get out when you cook it. Io intanto
La pasta si deve tenere coperta.
Fagliela vedere, allora, show it. The pieces of dough, they have to stay covered. They don't have to dry out as you work it. Cambiamo un attimo.
Il piaccia.
There's a lot of electric devices that will help you to do this in a quicker way. Again, we like slow food and we like the fact that we handle the food ourselves. So we use a 20-some years old machine, hand powered. Oops. This is a classic lambrusco for the table. This is this goes well with all the traditional dishes of Emilia Romagna, with boiled meat, with tortelli, both with spinach and pumpkin. And again, it's a DOC from the Cantina di Puglianello, Borgoleto. How do you season the tortelli once you cook it? We like it very simple. We just put olive oil, of course, oil from Il Molinello, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, and that is the best for us. More traditional recipes, they address butter and sage as the #1 condiment and seasoning for the tortelli. But you could also make a little bit of soffritto and tomato sauce and salty the tortelli in a pan before serving. That is very good too. Again, these dishes are good when the main ingredients are good. If you have good Parmigiano, if you have good pumpkin, then you don't need a lot of seasoning to appreciate it. For us, olive oil, it's very good, and a little bit of Parmesan makes it even more special. See?
Se la striscia viene piccola, come può succedere all'inizio, non preoccupate che si può fare in un altro modo. Adesso vi faccio vedere.
Okay. So Claudia said if the stripe gets small, don't worry, you fold it on the other side and it will work as well. So you put little balls of filling in the middle.
Sulla chat se puoi includere anche i vini che hai presentato, servito quando parlerai.
Yes, we will mention the wines. Actually, those are 2 wines you can find in the US. There's a couple of dealers in the US that will actually help you to get the wines right to your door. What is interesting about these wines is this producer has begun in 1938 with 5 members only, giving the grapes to the cantina. Now it's more than 200 members that give their grapes to the cantina. It's a co-op cantina, and the village is maybe 2,000 residents, Puglianello. It's at the foothills of the Apennines of Reggio Emilia, and they have a lot of terrain all around the first mountains of Reggio Emilia with very good exposition. Yes?
Giustamente Loren dice, dite il numero che sta usando per la pasta della macchina e se state...
Okay, because this, sorry about it, but this machine, il numero della macchina, it's actually number 2. It does have a number. We start from 6, we go from 6 to 4, and then from 4 to 2. We don't use the number 1, which is the thinner, come si dice, layer, that produces the thinner layer. Okay, grazie. Marco it's getting right there. So we are at number 2. This is the most famous and simplest simplest machine in Italy. It's called Imperia. Ok, ce l'abbiamo qua ancora.
Beh, rifai vedere.
So we go from 6 to 4 and then to 2. It's actually something that you decide on your own, meaning that Some of our friends, they really do like very thin pasta on the outside. We like the consistency of the pasta in our mouth, so we like to feel the grain of the pasta, so we keep it a little thicker. Molto bene, l'acqua è quasi pronta. We're right on time. In a few minutes we're gonna cook the tortelli. Adesso abbassiamo appena un po'. Qui. Again, I want to say hello to all the friends.
Viene passato nella macchina, meglio viene.
As you can see, Cleide keeps working while I'm talking. She says that, you know, to make it more homogeneous, you go 3-4 times in the same number before moving to the next number. And it's actually quite satisfactory to produce your own pasta, to make your own tortelli. Again, this is not a difficult dish to make. It's, you know, takes about an hour. The whole process takes about an hour. And it's good fun to make it with friends and kids sometimes, because you can be messy as you do it, you know, and of course, they will taste better than the one you buy at the shop. So this is the second. No, we're still in the first passage. We go from 6 to 4.
No, I do 4.
Okay, we've done 4 already. Sorry, this is the last passage. We go from 4 to 2. And we get it thinner. L'acqua sta bollendo, quindi direi che tra poco, sì, certo, facciamo anche questi e tra poco ci facciamo un piatto di tortelli. You decide the size according to the width of a pasta stripe. Again, lately we started to like the little ones better. They get cooked more homogeneously. I mean, they get at the same hardness. You know, when you make the big fluffy ones, you know, the come si dice, the tail, the pasta gets really soft, and we don't like that. We like it when the pasta, it's still a little crunchy in your mouth when you eat it. I don't know if that makes sense to you. This is a dish you can eat if you take our trip that it's Venice con gusto. The trip starts in Mantova, and Mantova, it's the capital of the pumpkin tortelli. We usually go to an extremely nice restaurant, which is Il Cigno Bianco, that claims to make the best pumpkin tortelli in the world. And let me tell you, they're pretty good. We like ours as well. But this is the tour where you surely will eat the tortelli if you go with Ciclismo Classico. I've done that trip quite a few times, and Il Cigno Bianco, it's very classy, simple, vintage kind of restaurant, but extremely good food. Come andiamo, Cleide?
Bene.
Bene.
Molto belli.
Sembrano che siano venuti molto belli. Speriamo che siano anche molto buoni. Vediamo un po'. Adesso Cleide si merita anche un goccio di vino. Allora, hot boiling water, a little bit of salt in the water. Come andiamo, Marco? Very well. We have Marco and Giada providing images. We have fun doing this. Marco and I have done the video flavors of Reggio Emilia as well, which, if you're interested, I'll give you the link tomorrow. It explains how Parmigiano Reggiano cheese is made, and also how balsamic vinegar is made.
Buttiamo questi?
Sì, buttiamo questi. We have basically 1 serving of tortelli. Vai. Hot boiling water.
Una porzione, più o meno 10 tortelli.
Sì, a serving at the restaurant, it's more or less 10 to 12 tortelli. These are small, so you should have at least 12 if you go to the restaurant. Prepariamo un piatto.
Yes.
A little bit about the olive oil. We only use Il Molinello olive oil, of course. For those of you who have attended the pizza lesson 2 weeks ago, Alessandro Draghi explained about olive oil quite a bit. We're in love with Tuscan flavor, and we're in love with the olive oil from Il Molinello. We only use that, and this is what we will use to season our ravioli, our tortelli. I say ravioli because this size, in some parts of Italy, it's called ravioli when they're very small. Where we live, we call it tortelli. A few minutes in hot boiling water, and then we will try and see how they are. Come?
Va bene. Quando sì.
Since we made the dough a little thick, takes a little time to boil in the water.
Yes.
Domande? Abbiamo domande? Vai tu.
No, c'è uno che dice, I wonder if Marcello knows that the phrase we're using for cycling and the cooked pasta in English is al dente.
Al dente, of course we do. It has to be al dente. That's given. I mean, we don't even discuss that. But this is why, thanks for the observation, this is why we like thicker pasta, because it stays al dente even better. And this is why we use type 1 flour, because we love the feeling of al dente grain in our mouth.
What we call ravioli in USA, Italy calls tortelli.
Okay, this is an ongoing come dire, legal battle that it's the same for many Italian products. It's very regional. All the cities claim to have the original recipe, and all the different cities, they claim to have the right name for it. In many circumstances, it's the same exact thing, that it's called with a different name. Technically, ravioli are smaller, tortelli are larger. So for the size we did tonight, we could call it ravioli. If they were bigger, it's no, Clay disagrees on that. But anyways, you know, the recipe and the shape is the shape of a tortella.
Because in Reggio Emilia, everybody.
Exactly. In Reggio Emilia, there's no ravioli. If you go to Bologna, everything is ravioli.
Yeah. In Reggio
The
Emilia,
same filling, you know, with dough on the outside. Try to do this. Go to a restaurant in Reggio Emilia and try to find ravioli. There's no ravioli in Reggio Emilia. Try to go to Bologna and find tortelli. There's no tortelli in Bologna. It's all tortellini or ravioli. Sentiamo come sono. What kind of? Actually, it's a new pot we just bought. Excellent. It's made out of stone, a sort of granite.
Più vino, Marcello.
Più vino. Okay. Cliff, this is for you. Sorry about it. Cliff. We love Cliff. We love all of you. We love Cliff as well. This is for you, Cliff.
grande. Oh, bisogna tirarli su.
Sì.
E chiede se c'è un tipo, una marca precisa di biscotti, immagino.
The same thing. Same thing. If you go to Cremona, they say they have invented amaretti. We use Benelli from Brescello. Brescello is 20 kilometers from here. Yeah. It's a village 20 kilometers from here.
And I think in USA,
I don't think it makes it in the US. Benelli.
No.
Ci siamo quasi, eh? No, ancora un po', ancora un minuto. One more minute in hot boiling water. We use Benelli cookies from Brescello, a very small producer. This is what we find in our shops. This is Benelli's. This is Benelli's, come si dice, packaging from Brescello. For those of you that are into movies, Brescello is the town where the movies Don Camillo and Pepone were taken.
Allora, c'è tanto Geoff che dice che sono mondi, immagino Bonnie, saluta tutti ed è molto contento di sentire la tua voce.
Thank you, Bonnie.
E poi Rebecca che dice che le piace il biscotto e la cannella.
Alla cannella. There's no cinnamon in these cookies. There's no cinnamon.
No.
This is almond. And allora, un po' di olio d'oliva. And again, there's sugar, egg white, almond, and the pulp of the pit of apricot and peaches. This is what amaretti are from. And amaro means bitter because if you ever had the pulp of the pit of the apricot, you know it's bitter. And here we are. Possiamo vedere questi? Abbiamo fatto i tortelli di zucca. And you know what? They're good. They're really good.
Very hot.
Molto crunchy. Molto crunchy.
Come piacciono a te?
Sì. I don't know if you had this dish before. It's a little funny because it's kind of sweet on the inside. And if you go again to one of the traditional Mantova recipe, in Mantova they also put mustard in it. Mustard, not the way you have mustard in the US. We didn't mention that up until now because if we keep it this simple, it's very easy to make the tortelli. Mustard, it's cooked apple with a little bit of mustard in it, and it can be very different. Oops, I lost my mic. The different kinds of mustard you find on the market, they will give the tortelli a very different taste, and this is why you have to try it on your own. The original recipe from Mantova has mustard in it. In Reggio Emilia, we don't use it as much, and so this is why we kept it simple the way it is, but you can try it on your own. Salute. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're open to questions from now on.
Ok. Cin cin.
Salute.
Buono.
Molto buono. Molto buono, sì. I also wanted to say hello to all my guide friends.
Vuoi leggere qua?
Come?
Se vuoi leggere direttamente da qua.
Ah, sì.
Marcello.
Chattare qua. Let's open the chat.
È molto buono.
Come si fa a aprire? Ok. Don says, I'm trying not to drool. What is drool? I'm shopping online for a pasta maker now. Grandissimo. Looks delicious. Grazie mille. Mille grazie. Ciao, Frank. I know Massimo Gianangeli is on too. Then I say hello to all my friends, guys. Again, remember, there's a book on sale by Ciclismo that includes all the great rides that a lot of guides have designed. I have two rides on that book. One is in Umbria, from Todi, from Spello to Todi, and the other one is in Reggio Emilia. The one in Reggio Emilia, it's the ride that I also made a video out of. The name of the video is Flavors of Reggio Emilia. Some of you already have seen it. If you're interested, I will send you the link to download it and see it for free. It's quite interesting because it shows how balsamic vinegar is produced. We didn't talk about balsamic vinegar tonight, but it's very interesting. And how Parmigiano Reggiano cheese is made. And the producer that we show in the video, it's actually Fattoria Rossi, the producer of the cheese we have used tonight, which is by far my favorite in the Parmigiano Reggiano world. So once again, there's people that are leaving. I say goodbye to all of you. And if you have more, ciao, Rebecca and Mitchell are on. Mitchell, great friend of us.
Oh, I wanted to just add,
Ma lo stesso.
Marcello, before everybody leaves,
Ciao Mitchell e ciao Rebecca.
Marcello.
Ciao Rebecca.
Sì?
C'è Loren che parla, tolgo le casse.
Vai.
Cioè tolgo le cuffie.
Ciao, Marcello. No. So thank you, everybody. Before everybody leaves, I just put a link into the chat box to make a, as you know, this is a free event, but they put a lot of time into this. Marcello did a little video before. Of course, they spent time shopping, and they're so dedicated to all of, to please someone, all of you. So if you can just give them a little donation or whatever you like, I put their PayPal link there. So you can go ahead and click, and that will go, it'll go to Ciclismo. We'll just distribute it to the whole family, the Bonini family. So thank you so much. Yeah, if anybody else has questions, we'll stick around and you can hang out and drink your wine, and see you next week too if you have to take off. And Marcello will be back in another 3 or 4 weeks.
And before you all leave, I want to say thank you to Marco and Giada, which are behind the cameras and the computer. Last information from Cleide. If you happen to produce way too many tortelli for your consumption, you can frozen the tortelli, you can freeze them, put it in the freezer, and just put it back into hot boiling water when you want to cook it. Again, thanks to Marco and thanks to Giada for their technical, very important help. I hope you enjoyed it. And Lauren has my mail if you want to go deeper into these kind of recipes. I can answer for what I know.
Marcello, what do you think you'll do next? What do you think you'll cook next? What do you think you'll cook next time?
Cosa cucinerai la prossima volta?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Tortelli verdi.
Vediamo. Salute. Un
Grazie.
bacio.
Salute. Thank you, Marcello and Cleda. Thank you.
Okay, turn on the mics. We can turn on the mics now, and if people want to say hello, that's great.
Chi è Jim? Grande Jim.
Vorrei una zuppa.
Vuole una scodella di tortelli. Eccola.
Are we on?
Yeah, I turned it off.
Thank you, Marcello.
Ciao ciao Marcello, buonanotte.
Ciao Jim.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Marcello.
Good night.
Ciao, buonanotte.
Buonanotte.
Ciao ragazzi, grazie.
Buonanotte, ciao Cleide, ciao Marci.
Oh,
Buonanotte.
Ciao ragazzi, complimenti.
grazie.
Marcello, grazie. Marcello.
Complimenti alla Giada e Marco. Guarda che c'è.
Chi è?
È il figlio di Lauren.
Ciao Lorenzo.
Hey, ciao.
You happen to be in Siena as well. Unbelievable.
Beautiful, beautiful night.
Grazie.
Oh, un abbraccio.
Tortelli.
That's great.
We are huge fans of Sportelletti. Love your apron.
From Sportoletti, Umbria, where we go for the wine tasting.
It's wonderful. But grazie Marcello, Clyda. Ciao.
Ciao
Dov'è?
ragazzi.
Ciao John.
Ciao. Grazie.
Grandissimo John. I drink to you.
Marcello, what did you say is your favorite Parmigiano?
From Fattoria Rossi. It's near here. They are organic certified and 100% antibiotic free certified.
Marcello,
The
mention
first ever in Italy.
about how people keep the Parmigiano in a bank, or I don't know.
Well, yes. Each wheel of Parmigiano is worth from 700 to 1,200 euros. And if you think that a producer has 2,000 to 3,000 wheels stored in their warehouse at a time, they put it in a building that it's more similar to a bank than to a regular warehouse.
Wow.
And some people that know about the producer. They buy cheese when it's very young and inexpensive, and they sell it after 4 or 5 years when it's expensive. I personally saw in a shop in Reggio Emilia a wheel of cheese that was 72 months. It was more than 6 years old.
Wow.
And at that point, it's 1,500 euros at least.
Wow. They have several hundred wheels in there.
No, several thousand.
Oh my God.
If you guys are interested, again, I'll show you the link to download the video Flavors of Reggio Emilia.
Yeah, I want to see. I would love to read more about that.
And watch it, because the producer Fattoria Rossi is a very small producer, but has something like 2,500 wheels in their basically living room, because they built a room in their house with controlled temperature to age the cheese, and 2,000 times 700, you understand the value of it. Make sense?
Fascinating, fascinating. What were the names of the wines again, Greg? Makuch is asking, we had tonight?
Allora, abbiamo the Lambrusco that goes with the Tortelli. It's called Borgolete.
Lambrusco.
Lambrusco. And it's this one here from Cantina Puglianello.
Puglianello.
At the back of it, you have the logo of the consortium of Reggio Emilia. And the first one, it's not any domination. It's called Ancestrale. It's called Ancestrale. It's still a Lambrusco. It's not a DOC. It's a new way to make unfiltered, ancient way to produce wine. And it's still from Cantina Puglianello. But I can send those of you that are interested all the details.
Okay, great.
Borgoleto is good.
The Fattoria Rossi, is that because of the red cows?
Not really, not really. The red cows, it's another variety of Parmigiano, but you only find red cows in the hills. This is at the bottom of the hills. What is interesting about the red cows, which is a new way, very recent to produce Parmigiano Reggiano, is the red cows have less yield. The red cows, which is supposedly the cows that the barbarians has left in the 1200s in Reggio Emilia, they don't produce as much milk as the regular cows do. But the Fattoria Rossi that uses the Frisone cows as well, no, Frisone cows, which are different, because they don't use antibiotics, they also produce very little milk. So both the red cows and the cows from Fattoria Rossi, they produce, let's say, 20 liters per day instead of 45 that the regular cows produce. And they both obtain higher quality cheese out of it because of that too. Make sense, Mitchell?
I think so. Mitch, Beach.
Mitch, where are you?
It made sense to us, Marcello.
Okay.
Bonnie understands, so it's okay.
I understand that. So we were watching All Creatures Great and Small. It's an English program based on a book by James Herriot. No, was it James Herriot?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The cat's in the
Cat's in the bag. But they also have milking cows that do not produce a lot of milk, and that's the way they want to keep it for the cheese.
Again, exactly. Again, sorry to mention it again. If you watch my video, Graziano, one of the three brothers that owns the Fattoria, the farm, says that the average lifespan of a cow in the consortium is 7 years. They have cows that are 20 years old and still being milked. Not as much as the young one, not as much as the average cows in the consortium, but still healthy because they're not pushed with medicines and drugs and antibiotics.
That's like our eggs.
Yep.
It makes sense. And for those of us who can afford it, because of course you will not find their cheese at the discount store, you're supporting something, you're supporting someone that respects the natural cycle of life a little more than somebody else.
Here.
Salute.
Salute.
The good thing about Lambrusco is that it's one step above Coca-Cola only. 10 degrees alcohol. So for those of you that are drinking Tuchac, Brunello, and Amarone, you can have bottles of that. Salute. I don't have to drive.
Who's cleaning the kitchen now, Marcello? Aren't you?
Yes, I am. Well, Claudia is actually making more tortelli for tomorrow.
I wish you could just pack them in the mail and send them over.
We thought about it. No, joking. But we have prepared a lot of dough because we wanted to make sure we had the right consistency. And when you have to use the dough.
What else have you guys been
And you know what? If you have leftover filling and leftover dough, you just make a salty pie. Ecco, see, they're producing more tortelli.
Wow. Oh, beautiful.
We'll be there soon. Leave the lights on.
Grande Geoff. You know what, Geoff? I saw the
Hey.
Ciclismo Classico website page, guides page. I'm very proud to be next to you.
Thank you, Marcello. Thank you.
Seriously.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. I now have to learn all the little stories that you know about where we're going to go so I can make you jealous of me.
Ooh, mamma mia.
Well, hopefully we'll get you over here to lead one of our domestic trips too. That'd be great.
You know what? I'd be happy to be a guest on one of your domestic trips. Very high maintenance guest
Yeah, exactly.
in terms of wine consumption.
That's okay, Marcello. Since I don't drink the wine, you can have mine.
So what else have you guys been cooking, Marcello? What else you guys been doing?
We've been cooking whatever. I mean, we're still fairly locked in.
Right.
I don't know if you're following what happens in Europe. In Italy, now there are 3 different color stripes. If you're yellow, you can go basically anywhere. If you're orange, and Emilia-Romagna is orange, you can only circulate in your municipality, in your county. If you're red, you're not supposed to get out of your house unless you have to go shopping. So we have been red for 3 weeks, and now we've been orange for 2 weeks. Every Friday, the government addresses the different change of color. And today, it's Friday, we did hope we would move to yellow when you have very little restriction, but we didn't. And you can't leave your house after 10 p.m. And again, unless you have to go work and you have to travel with a printed permit, you're not supposed to leave your county. I have to say that the checks are not strict. Police is keeping it loose, but that's the way it is. You could be fined. You could get a ticket if you're if you're leaving your municipality without, come si dice, a reason to do so. So we've been home a lot. We have cooked a lot.
Mhm. And then, so how do they define that you're yellow? They just say that.
It depends on the number of contagious compared to 100,000 people.
So what do they say? Do they say this zip code or this region is yellow?
This region, the 20 regions. Like right now, I don't remember who is still red. Vi ricordate chi è rosso ancora? Sicily is red. Lombardy is red. And maybe the province of Trento is still red. And then there's 5 or 6 regions that are orange. Everybody else is yellow because the number of contagious, it's actually going down. The percentage, it's going down, so we're getting better. But we're still with very strict restrictions.
How are the vaccines going there?
The vaccines? What do you mean?
No, I
They're
mean,
not there yet.
are you you're not vaccinating yet?
Oh, the vaccine, sorry. We're about 25,000.
Vaccinated.
Yeah, vaccinated.
And is there a goal?
But example, my profession, my job, swimming pools and gyms, we have closed October the 15th. We haven't opened yet. And there's no any, come si dice, previsione. We don't think we will open until May.
Wow.
So I'm working at a bike shop. I'm working part-time, but no swimming pool, no gym, not anything else.
Mhm. Mhm. And how do they define that? Like, how do they define what's red? They just say the same thing. The number of
It's the number of well, they do use more than one parameter. One is the come si dice, intensive care hospital spots, and another one it's the number of infected people compared to 100,000 people, and another one it's the come si dice, the indice di contagiosità, how many people are infected out of one person which is positive, the RT number. You put those three together and there's an algorithm that tells you the, come si dice, seriousness of a problem.
Hi, Marcello. Oh, you have to stick your head in because you're.
Where am I?
Here.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Ciao.
Is there?
And everybody's quite more left on
Hi.
their way. We got the yeah, that's smart. That's Mitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, okay. So, well, this is great, Marcello. This is great. I hope things start shifting everywhere. I know.
It's going to be a tough spring. Let's put it together. Let's put it this way.
Biking?
In general, I mean, Italy will have a big social problem of poverty. Our economy wasn't doing extremely well in, let's use these words, even before COVID. Now there's a lot of people that have not worked for 4 or 5 months. And we're going towards a period of very serious social issues because of that.
Mm-hmm. Like this kind.
We're lucky. We own our house. My wife has a good job. My parents have some money. I have some savings. I do work, but there's a lot of people who are going through a very rough time. A lot of people.
Well,
So
thank you so much for, thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much for this wonderful evening. At least we can get together and do this. We are.
at least we can make pumpkin tortelli.
Yeah, at least we're so thankful. And we'll just keep doing this. I guess it's just, one week at a time, we'll get through this. We will.
We're in.
Have a good weekend. If I hit Mega Millions, you won't see me Monday. It's $1 billion.
Okay.
It's $1 billion.
how many-
Billion.
Lauren has my email.
It's $1 billion.
When is it?
Tonight.
Tonight, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Time to buy lottery tickets.
You have to go outside to do that.
$10 billion. Oh my God. Okay.
No, 1 billion.
Ciao, we love you. We miss you.
Okay.
I'm gonna shut down and start
Hello. I'm gonna go buy
drinking,
lottery tickets.
really.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.
Mille grazie. Mille grazie.
Grazie.
Ciao, 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 ciao.
Ciao.